Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. Today is the 31st of August 2022. Another month comes to an end, but it has been a devastating month for Pakistan with the floods, with the destruction of property, of cattle, of people's lives, with the people who've been injured, with the scores of people who have lost their houses, as you can see in the parallel windows. The devastation is unprecedented in Pakistan's history, and that is what Antonio Guterres has also been saying. So have other world leaders, apart from our Pakistani leaders as well, that this is an example, a warning for many other countries in the West and other parts of the world to understand what climate change means and how climate change can affect countries like Pakistan, and he was citing Pakistan. Nevertheless, the United Nations has pledged money for Pakistan. There was a life fund as far as Pakistan is also concerned, where Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Sahab also participated. A lot of ambassadors have gone to different areas of Pakistan that have been hit by these calamities, and they have witnessed firsthand the destruction and devastation that has been caused, and the rescue and relief operations that are happening all across the Pakistan, whether it be the government, whether it be our forces, whether it be the levies, whether it be the NGOs, or whether it be the civil society. They are all as one as far as helping those in need is concerned. A while back, before coming to the show, I managed to get hold of the representative of the United Nations Population Fund, Mr. Bakhtiar Kardirov, while he was returning with Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Sahab and other ambassadors after having witnessed firsthand the devastation that was caused in different areas of Pakistan. This is what he had to say. You've seen the devastation that the people of Pakistan are confronted with at different levels, whether it be in the form of loss of infrastructure or loss of cattle, loss of crops or loss of lives. How do you see it? And as a representative of the United Nations, what kind of efforts do you feel need to be put in by not only Pakistan but all the international organizations and other countries to help Pakistan put the people back in their state of affairs that they were in before all of these calamities happened?
First of all, our sincere thanks and appreciation to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for organizing this aerial view of floods mission to the field. We have witnessed areas completely flooded, no dry land to pump out water even. So therefore, the people are in dire need, because we know that millions, hundreds of thousands are in relief camps and in host communities, and they need our support. From our rapid needs assessment, we see that the flood-affected population people are concerned about the provision of healthcare services. Therefore, in the initial days, in the first days of the crisis, we immediately prioritized a set of crucial interventions to prevent maternal health, maternal mortality, illness and disability, and to prevent and manage consequences of potential gender-based violence in the flood-affected areas. As the United Nations Population Fund, we have also deployed 23,000 newborn baby kits, clean delivery kits, and dignity kits as well. But still, we need to do a lot more based on our mission today, aerial view of flood-affected areas. We need to do more, we need to scale up. And especially, we need to deliver healthcare services, life-saving maternal healthcare services as well, and then also provide safe spaces for women and girls. This is what we see, especially in those areas in camp settings, including mobile medical camps, tented health facilities to prevent even the outbreak of diseases. So also maybe to address the interruption of the schooling and also health services.
What are the priority areas in your point of view as far as the work that needs to be done for the relief and rehabilitation of the people in Pakistan who are affected by the floods is concerned?
At this stage, short-term interventions, immediately we need to prioritize health care services to prevent the outbreak of communicable diseases, and also prioritize and create safe spaces for women and girls, for men, boys, for everyone, and also prioritize life-saving services and livelihoods for the population, including addressing food insecurity in those areas, but also there will be medium-term and longer-term intervention requiring rehabilitation and reconstruction initiatives, especially considering that more than 3,400 roads are were damaged by the floods and landslides, including 149 bridges and more than 1 million, close to 1 million houses. All of this requires a kind of integrated approach, so prioritizing all areas, especially water, sanitation and hygiene, healthcare services, food and livelihood for the affected population. And also in this respect, it's also essential to prioritize education so that the schooling is not interrupted for girls and boys.
Antonio Guterres calls what is happening in Pakistan as a warning for the entire world, because climate change is a reality that many do not believe in, and what is happening in Pakistan is a sad but true representation of what climate change represents. Do you feel the countries understand what climate change is now that they are seeing what is happening in Pakistan?
Yes, what's happening here, it might happen in any country, so given the climate change effects. And also we know that Pakistan is the fifth most affected climate change affected country, so according to global index. Therefore, what's happening here, it might happen anywhere else, in any other countries.
All right. So, of course, we will have the United Nations back as far as all the relief and rehabilitation efforts are concerned. You have already pledged money for Pakistan. There's also the live pledge that happened yesterday. And I'm sure with the arrival of Antonio Guterres to Pakistan, where he will be pledging more to help the people in Pakistan, the United Nations will have Pakistan's back, as will other organizations and important countries. So thank you very much, sir, to have joined us and to have given us an out view of what the United Nations feels is the devastation caused by the floods in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the representative of the UNFPA in Pakistan talking to us about the floods, the devastation caused from a first-hand view, where he's just come with Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab and an entourage of other ambassadors who were there to see what Pakistan is going through first-hand. Well, as you just saw my live interaction with the representative in Pakistan of the United Nations Population Fund, and he talked about the priority areas that are there for Pakistan and that are the same areas that other international organizations and countries will be focusing on as far as Pakistan is concerned. We also know about the flash appeal that happened by the United Nations, in which a lot of money was pledged. We also know about what other countries have pledged, whether it be the United Nations, whether it be China, Turkey, Bahrain, and so many other friendly countries who have sent aircrafts full of material for the people who are in need, whether it be in the form of tents, in the form of food, in the form of other supplies, medicine as well. And these aircrafts will continue to come, and the aid continues, but nevertheless the devastation is unprecedented. We've never seen that in Pakistan in its history, and climate change has a lot to do with it. Let's come to a short report and then we'll continue with our guest in the studio.
The scale, scope and spread of 2022 floods has created unprecedented havoc across Pakistan. According to the daily report by National Disaster Management Authority, death toll from devastating floods soared to 1,162 as floodwaters from north began to breach banks and affected more than 1 million people in Sindh's Dadu district. The United Nations Population Fund has warned that at least 650,000 pregnant women, of whom 73,000 are expected to deliver next month in the flood-affected areas, are in dire need of maternal health service. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif visited Kalam area of District Swat and other flood-hit areas to review flood relief activities in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has stressed for joint efforts by the government, international community and the United Nations donor agencies to overcome the enormous challenge posed by devastating flood in Pakistan. At a joint press conference along with the United Nations resident coordinator, Foreign Minister emphasized that urgent steps are required by the world, the UN and the partner agencies to cope with the magnitude of challenge. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has expressed its deep gratitude to the United Nations for launching $160 million flash appeal for the flood victims in Pakistan. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres will travel to Pakistan next week for a solidarity visit. Flooding has indeed emerged as the worst type of climate-induced disaster for Pakistan, so the government's response must integrate adaptation and mitigation to reap benefits of the climate-resilient development model.
To talk more about the rescue and relief efforts, not only being made by the government of Pakistan, but also by the armed forces, by the other forces that are joining hands with the civil society and the NGOs and the governments to help people come out of the current crisis that they are in. We've been joined in the studios by Lieutenant Commander Sufyan Saleem from the Pakistan Navy. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. The Pakistan Navy is working hand in hand with the other forces, whether it be the Pakistan Air Force or the Pakistan Army, to help those who are stranded in different areas of Pakistan. You are mostly concentrated in areas of Sindh. Would you kindly highlight for our viewers all the efforts, rescue and rehabilitation and relief efforts that the Pakistan Navy is conducting for the stranded people in Sindh?
First of all, Omar, thanks so much for inviting me, and Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Omar, Pakistan Navy is continuing its relief and rescue efforts all over the Sindh, specifically the northern Sindh, which includes the areas of Dadu, Kambar Shadat Code and Mirpur Khas, where there is, because it's a low-lying area, Sindh, so all the efforts of Pakistan Navy are continued with the boats, the Zulu boats which Pakistan Navy is using to rescue the stranded personnel which are in their homes, and they are on the basically the rooftop. So somewhat the transportation mode as of now is the boats and the helicopters which Pakistan Navy Aviation is using to rescue them and to give and to send them to a safe location where they can live their life, because their homes are devastated. They don't have any homes right now. So this is the present situation which Pakistan Navy is focusing on, and is alhamdulillah going to any distress call wheresoever we are called, and we are there.
Whether it be Sevan, whether it be Sakhar, whether it be Kambar Shadat Kod, whether it be Mirpur Khas, Sanghar, Dadu, and so many other areas of Sindh, the Pakistan Navy is on the forefront as well as the relief and rescue operation are concerned. What are you seeing firsthand as far as the people and the devastation that they are encountering?
Omar, from my point of view, the major effort which Pakistan Navy and the basically all the armed forces in coordination with the civil administration is focusing right now is to first of all the relief efforts, then to rescue the personnel to the safe locations, and after all these, once it will be finished, the most important phase will be in the continuation, and that would be the to settle them at some homes which will be in the form of some tents or maybe some other temporary locations, so that at least they can start up with their early life, because they have nothing right now. So that is a very important step, and then the major step in all of it, it will be to establish the basically the camp city for them. So that is very important to rehabilitate them in all possible manner, and Pakistan Navy is focusing on it with coordination of all the civil administration to compile all the data as of now who are being devastated, and at the same time to fulfill the needs of those people who are our elders, our brothers and sisters, they are in the place of our parents. So we are very much concerned about their health, because there is a phenomena that after 4 to 6 weeks of if the water will remain there, then there is a after 4 to 6 weeks there is a phenomena regarding it will create unnecessary the malaria, the dengue, the diarrhea. So these are all the
so you have established medical camps as well for these.
Omar, affirmative. We have established 11 medical camps, and the mobile teams are also there who are supporting not only by the transportation mode of road, nevertheless they are also supporting by Zulu boats, including one female medical doctor teams who are looking after the needs of the medical of the women and the children who are in need.
Of course, and that is very important, because there are certain diseases that are specific to women and they need to be catered to as well under these current circumstances. We have also been joined online by Hamza Farrukh. He's the founder of Boondh Shams. Hamza, thank you very much to have joined us. It had been some time that we had discussed issues, and now under this current devastating and unfortunate incident that has grappled Pakistan, we are back together talking about this crisis that Pakistan is engulfed in. As far as Boondh Shams is concerned, what are the efforts that your organization is putting forward?
Thank you, Omar, for having me on again. It's a pleasure to be back. Unfortunately, we meet this time in somber circumstances versus last when I recently received an award at the time. Look, Boondh Shams has been working in Pakistan since 2014. It is a Pakistan homegrown organization that has so far served more than 50 million cups of clean water in Pakistan, Bangladesh, South Sudan, Yemen, Afghanistan. So it is a proven project. It's one where we've proven our mettle and we were ready in some ways, and perhaps sometime in some senses more ready than other institutions within Pakistan. And our focus was to try and get this technology that we built, the solar water box, that can take flood water, pass it through our proprietary system, and make it into clean drinking water. So that's where we've started. That's the tech we had. We deployed 3 of these boxes already in Sindh, 10 days ago, that are already serving 2,000 people, getting them safe, life-saving water. And we're planning to send 3 more to Balochistan. We've got, 10, 15 more lined up for KPK, South Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan. So really, we're going all in. And we're calling on friends and family to join us as we take on what is going to be a behemoth of a problem for all of us to tackle.
All right, Hamza, you were talking about Sindh, but the fact remains that as far as clean drinking water is concerned, this is also a huge issue for Pakistan in the wake of these devastating floods, because there's a lot of water, but most of this water is unclean. We've talked to other people recently. They've talked about outbreak of cholera in certain areas of Pakistan because of this water as well. What measures can organizations like yourself take for providing clean water to the majority of the people who've been stranded due to these floods?
Omar, this is an extremely important point. And let me just stress that the flood did not bring waterborne disease in Pakistan. Even before these floods, we were constantly dealing with communities that are last mile, have no access to water, no electricity, and are constantly living below the minimum, below the sort of the global living standard. And I think there's probably some time for deeper reflection later down the road, but the fact is that around 90% of deaths and illnesses in children in Pakistan are waterborne. So what the floods are going to do is they're going to exacerbate the problem, and absolutely you're going to see cholera, you're going to see malaria, and may God help us all. But fact is, we need to be more prepared, and I think the opportunity we have now is to get very real and very serious about exactly what it is that we can do. And the first key message that we can send out is that you should not be drinking water that is already contaminated, right? So flood water is going to bring with it a destruction of underground water sources, boreholes. It's going to get sewage mixed with clean water. So we must pass it through filtration. Now, what we've created with the solar water box is a transportable system that can be deployed within 1 hour in locations of emergency use. It takes water and can provide takes flood water, can provide 1,000 liters per hour of filtered clean water using 2 key techniques, ultrafiltration and ion exchange, something we worked on for more than 8 years. And the fact is that, and this is what's important, right? At the moment, you've got these locations that need emergency relief, and we're going to place these portable boxes next to them, but they're not going to live there for the rest of their lives. So we cannot continue to do permanent solutions in a time of emergency and disaster relief. So we begin with these boxes in relief camps, and then as the water subsides, we will be able to relocate the same boxes to villages that are last mile, where the water source was also contaminated before the floods. So I think it is a really nice mix of a sort of a short-term emergency use and disaster response, coupled with a long-term solution, which will hopefully, inshallah, last 15 to 20, 25 years. And we were just doing the math for one of our donors who asked, how much does 1 liter of water cost produced from this box? And we did the numbers, and it comes out to be 0.034 rupees per liter, over the course of 10 years. Per year, this is around 0.03 rupees per liter. Compare that with 40 rupees that you're going to pay for 1 liter of bottled water. That is almost 120 times more expensive, not to mention the plastic waste. So, and these are the kind of numbers we really need to let sink in. The cost of
But you know, measures such as these need to be disseminated and distributed on a very, very large level, Hamza, in order for some proper effect to take place, because of the huge devastation across Pakistan that we will be seeing. We'll be needing a lot of products such as yours all across Pakistan. Stay online with us, Hamza. We are still with Lieutenant Commander Sufyan Saleem from the Pakistan Navy, talking to us. We were talking about water, clean drinking water, the medical issues that people have had, are encountering, whether it be men, children or women, and how the forces such as yours are taking care of that. What measures do you see as a forces personnel that you will be encountering and you will be helping the people across Pakistan, not just in Sindh but in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan as well?
So let me tell you that Pakistan Navy is engaged in all the major flood relief activities, starting from Hamza till the southern Punjab, which includes Rajanpur and Diai Khan, and then coming to the northern part of the Sindh. So basically, we are very much in focus to do all this part, and majorly the question which you have asked regarding the question which you have asked, it is
about
very
the measures that need to be taken, or you feel will be taken in the coming days.
Omar, the major challenge what we are receiving is that people, we have to respect their opinion, as they don't want to leave their homes.
That is a huge issue, because a lot of people, you know, despite the devastation that has been caused, that they have no houses, they have no crops, they have no cattle, still they don't want to leave their land.
They don't want to leave their land, and we cannot force them. So we have to respect their opinion. To counter it, what we, the armed forces of Pakistan and Pakistan Navy in particular, is doing is that we are providing them cooked meals. We have noted their homes. We have we have given a task to the all the concerned personnel who are involved in their duties to give them cooked meal each time, because we have to make them live. We have to take care of them, because they all are Pakistanis, and as Pakistanis are. We have to take care of them. We try to make them understand the situation. However, it is a challenge for Pakistan Navy, which we are facing.
Also, there are people who are stranded in areas that are not easy to reach. So you are reaching them through helicopters, giving them food through helicopters, and also bringing them to safer areas. In the coming days, with the rains that haven't stopped as of yet, even in Sindh, there's still a lot of water that is there. In other areas also, we hear about rains that haven't ended, and this spell of rain might continue till mid of September. How prepared is the Pakistan Navy to help people to encounter other issues that the people are facing, and to help those who are in need, and especially those who are in areas that are not easily located, or people can come to, so that they can be taken out of those high risk areas and brought to areas where other people are living, so that they can at least have some semblance of life.
Omar, I get your point. If you see the pattern of this monsoon, only 2 months have passed and the records have broken. For the last 30 years, this rainfall was extraordinary rainfall, and we, Sindh being in the low lying area, has been affected the most. So in this regard, if we see, we have to definitely focus on the major challenges which are about to come. I have earlier also told regarding the medical problem, which is not have come to the in force right now.
True.
But definitely it is about to after 4 to 6 weeks. So we are focusing on that. In nutshell, more of the focus is on the relief and the rescue efforts right now. In Sindh, the rescue efforts, as you have highlighted, those are the major challenges which we are facing right now. So the mode of transportation is now the only boats, because it's all the water over there. 4 to 6 inches above water is everywhere in the Sindh, in the far-flung areas. So we, as you have also shown in your videos. So what we are doing is that we are transferring all the personnel to which they need, which needs rescue by Pakistan Navy. So we transfer them through the boats to a safer location where the ground is there, and we establish them. We make them settle into the camps which are over there in coordination with the civil administration. So yes, we, the armed forces and the Pakistan Navy in particular, is focusing on the rehabilitation phase, because the most important point is the damage assessment that is still left, because the relief and the rescue efforts are still underway. So we have to remain patient. We have to remain in focus all the major input which we are doing right now, the relief and the rescue efforts. It is very necessary that we should be focused on that. And nevertheless, there is a department which is focusing on the upcoming events which we have to focus on, and those includes the medical, the ration distribution on a daily basis, everything we have to cater for it.
You talked about damages, and I think that's a very important point that needs to be highlighted, and people need to be prepared in advance for it, because we know we have seen, as you yourself have seen firsthand, the amount of people, of course, who have been devastated by it. But in the days to come, we are going to see firsthand also a lot more of devastation in those areas that haven't yet been catered to and haven't yet been touched. There are so many areas that have yet to be, where people have yet to be taken out from. And we were talking before the show as well that there are areas that are completely destroyed in Pakistan. There's no sign of any life anymore, because everything has been destroyed by this water. Can the Pakistan Navy, along with other organizations, help in preparing the people for such tragedies in the future? Can some strategy be evolved?
Omar, Pakistan Navy is definitely focusing on all the points you have highlighted. We are definitely focusing on the after effects which are going to be after the relief and the rescue efforts are going to be finished. So the settling part would be a major challenge for the Pakistan Navy in particular. However, the whole Pakistan and the Pakistani nation has to contribute towards the better settlement of all the far-flung areas, in the rural areas specifically, because their homes are no more. They are all devastated. They don't have a space to live in. So we have to accommodate them into a temporary location. As of now, they don't have any. So we were just discussing in the morning that one family was focusing on for their daughter there's jewelry for the marriage. It has all gone with this flood. So this is a major
people have lost their complete livelihoods, in this flood.
Approximately more than 9 lakhs livelihoods have dispersed or damaged or killed. So we don't know what they are going through. We have to definitely feel for them, and we are feeling for them. We are really devastated. We are feeling that we should be in every capacity. We should, as a nation, as in Pakistan Navy capacity, we are focusing to help them in every regard, so that they may settle afterwards, because to send them back to their homes in after the mud one has been vanished, and now we have to settle them to their permanent home. So this is a challenge which we are foreseeing.
There are going to be a lot of challenges, and I hope that all the forces, the people, the NGOs are going to come up to it, because the people who are stranded need us in this dire straits that they are, of course, confronted with. We've been joined by Syed Shahzad Ali, who's a water expert. Shahzad Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Syed Shahzad Ali, when you look at the current state of events as far as the floods is concerned, one thing comes to mind is that we need to have a proper strategy as far as water storage is concerned, so that Pakistan being a country that is also going to encounter drought by the year 2025, and on the one hand we might encounter drought, on the other hand we have an excess of water through floods and such mechanisms. Can some kind of a middle ground be achieved through which the water that comes in these flood areas does not cause floods, but is stored in proper storage capacities that can be used in due time?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yes, of course, there are plenty of different cases of flooding, however, in our country. It is caused by the heavy rainfall, even though in other nations they have different system to control damages. But unfortunately, we do not have proper drainage system, and we do not have much more dams to store raining water. As a result, we faced, deadliest flood after 12 years. Another case, growth
Yes,
of
you were
cities.
saying.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Shahzad Ali Saab, we're listening to you.
Okay. Yes, because of rapid growth of cities and poor damages system is one of the biggest cause of the flooding. So
All
it
right.
can be countered through by the
All All right, Shahzad Saab, there seems to be some kind of technical issue. We can't hear you properly. We hope to get you back on one of our future shows. Nevertheless, one thing that he has highlighted is that drainage systems are very important, are the need of the day also. The construction of dams is very important for the government in order to not only preserve the water but to prevent situations such as floods. Coming back to you, Sufyan Saleem Saab, how important has, in your point of view, the role of the forces and the Pakistan Navy been under these circumstances? And this is a long drawn out battle, especially what we are encountering here. This is not going to end in a few weeks' time. I think this is going to take months, maybe more than a year or maybe years. For those people who have been stranded, for those people who have been devastated, who have lost their cattle, their crops, their families in these floods, to be properly rehabilitated. How determined is the Pakistan Navy to continue helping those in need in the coming months as well, in the coming years as well?
Omar, what Pakistan Navy is doing right now is a practical manifestation to show the resolve of Pakistan Navy in particular. We, the Pakistan Navy, are extended all-out support to any distress call which we are receiving from any of the local populace, or it may be from the civil administration. So our resolute is right now to respond to any of the requests from any place, any government authorities. So we are focusing on all the outreach from where we can help out, and all the necessities. As you have talked about the mineral waters, we are providing the mineral waters to all the people who are not in the position to get the clean water right now. We are providing them through the water bowsers where the boats cannot go. So the mobilization is definitely an issue. However, specifically as you have asked, what Pakistan Navy is doing.
When you talk about mobilization, this mobilization will be needed to be continuous and will be a long process of mobilization. It's not going to end within 2 weeks or 2 months. It's going to go on maybe a year or more. So how much is the resolve within the Pakistan Navy to continue to help each and every one who the Pakistan Navy can help through the different mechanisms, through the dispensation of water, through dispensation of tents, and so on and so forth?
Omar, let me definitely appreciate the various NGOs who are supporting Pakistan Navy, and Pakistan Navy with all the resources. All the men are very motivated, all the officers are very motivated to help our fellow Pakistanis. So we are in continuous support, and we foresee that the mobilization will definitely take a span of maybe 6 months or maybe a year, but it is a very devastated situation in Pakistan right now, specifically once we talk about Sindh. So yes, we are focused, and we will continue the whatsoever we can and whatsoever in capacity we can. We will definitely we are in a strong resolve to continue these supports, to all-out support to the local populace who are affected right now.
This support mechanism is extremely important for all those concerned in different areas of Pakistan. Hamza, when it comes to organizations such as yours, I mean, I know that your priority is the dispensation of clean drinking water to the populace all across Pakistan. But can you go above and beyond that and help those people also who are in dire straits of maybe shelter or clothing or medicine? Would organizations such as yours also collaborate with others to bring that relief to the people?
Of course, Omar, and I think, let us just take a step back and consider the known unknowns and the known knowns. We know, according to the Climate Risk Index, that Pakistan is one of the eighth most affected by climate change. We already know that we're the top 5 water-stressed nations in the world, which just means that the onus of preparedness and the onus of doing our homework ahead of these natural calamities is on us. So you must begin by first taking on the responsibility and feeling authority for our own future and our own preparedness. And in times of crises like this, where suddenly you're faced with the greatest challenge almost in a decade, one of the silver linings and one reason for hope is how quickly the nation does come together, and how quickly the various arms that work efficiently within our system are able to collaborate. I mean, we've heard from the Navy, and we know of other institutions in Pakistan who've done the same. And from our side, we're continuing to work with other organizations, including Al Khidmat. We're working in some regard with the OIC as well. We're working with a few other organizations in Sindh, Balochistan, and of course the answer that is required at this critical hour is all encompassing, right? So it's not going to be just about providing water, because you also need to provide them, food security. You also need to be able to protect people who are sleeping by the roadside because all their towns are flooded. So it has to be, of course, this comprehensive effort that caters to all the fundamental needs. But
All,
having
all right,
said
Hamza,
that,
you know, there's another, as far as water is concerned, clean water is not only used for drinking purposes, but is also used in other, for example, for operations you need them. A lot of women are going to give birth, as far as the estimate given by the United Nations Population Fund is concerned. More than 500,000 pregnant women are in dire need of care. And for that also, for example, for their deliveries, we need clean water so as to help with the deliveries as well. So clean water becomes more paramount, not only for drinking but for so many other purposes as well. How prepared are organizations such as yours to help those women in need?
So look, I think, we can all agree water is fundamental to life. There is a reason why, our holy prophet, peace be upon him, even said water is the best charity you can give. And 70% of our bodies are water. So we can begin with that understanding. Now, the fact is that in instances of such nature, there are one of two things you can do. One is to ensure that you're ready ahead of time. So you invest in your local infrastructure. I remember last time we spoke in 2020, we spoke about the national need to ensure that groundwater depletion is stopped. But in these instances, our organizations such as mine, who worked on technological advances that can be leveraged in times of crises, they need to be sort of brought on as perhaps the experts in that domain. But what we need is the leverage and sort of the arm of the government. We need district administration. We need folks, like the Navy and the Army, who are very well distributed into local networks to work with us. Because fact of the matter is, my team might be 50 people or 100 people, but we're not going to be able to take on the full calamity. So we need that intra-governmental, sort of charity to charity, corporate CSR initiative, and then on top of that, local volunteers. Now, where I sit, and I'm, alhamdulillah, very lucky and fortunate to be in this situation, people look up to our organization as perhaps the leaders in the water space in Pakistan who are taking on a new, innovative approach to solve the problem. I mean, think about it, right? We're converting the calamity of flood water into clean drinking water, and we're distributing and getting to serve communities within the day, setting up our technology within hours, which is unheard of globally, right? If you think about it, Boondh is working in South Sudan, Bangladesh, Rohingya refugee camps, Afghanistan. So there is something to be said about the technology. The fact of the matter is, this technology is being made in Islamabad. We've got reserve, right? So we kept 15 boxes as emergency response that we're able to deploy now. But what we need is for folks to really step up, come to us. We've already disclosed how much the box cost. It's 10 lakh rupees. I told you the cost per liter. And what we need to do now is deploy hundreds of these across the country. And when the flood subsides, of course, we'll move them to better locations.
All right, Hamza, we're talking about floods, we're talking of lots of water. In the days that are to come, with the proper mechanisms in place, when water could be stored in proper places, water that comes through floods or excessive rains, and that water could be used for energy or for drinking purposes. How important does the role of organizations such as yours come into play for that huge amount of water that could be used for drinking purposes?
This has been my criticism of our national approach to water conservation in Pakistan. Either we have too little water or we have too much, right? And it's something you've alluded to as well. So of course, there is a need to build dams and reserves where we can store water. Now, a lot of communities that we continue to work with, both in Sindh as well as in KPK, where I'm talking about Lucky Marwat, I'm talking about Omar, I'm talking about Pithoro. The way they deal with their water access is actually to store it, right? So in Lucky Marwat, people have built underground tanks where the flood water and the rainwater always collects. In Sindh, you've got these big talabs essentially that get fed by the government supply line for the most part, and whenever there's rain, it gets harvested. The critical difference is that water is not drinkable, right? Of course, it's mixed with sewage and bacteria and E. coli. So even though you do get that reserve, now you need to filter it. And filtration is a key aspect that we're missing in our national discourse because we're very used to providing hand pumps. That's been historically the technology that we've relied on. But think about it. Hand pumps and these wells belong in the 18th century, not even the 19th century or the 20th century. So what we need to do is move on. And what we need now are solar-based products that can leverage and clean that water and do it sustainably for a long life. So, I mean, NGOs such as ours and other non-profits within Pakistan, I think this is a big call out, right? This is a call to everybody who's listening and everybody who's trying to do good work for people of Pakistan, especially within the wash sector and the water sector. Reach out to us. We are providing our technology. It's not a commercial basis. We're providing it at cost to get it to as many people as possible. Look, we've done the numbers. Solar-based filtration plants take 20 to 25 lakh rupees to set up. We're doing it at 10 lakh. We're working on technology where we'll be able to do it even at 5 lakhs. So what we need now is this great infrastructural push, this great push among people, among the non-profit sector, among the governmental sector to come in and rely on a homegrown technology, which is being appreciated the world over. And I will say this one sentence, and this is quite critical. The Queen of England somehow found out about us. We didn't reach out and awarded us with the Points of Light Award. That's why you and I spoke in 2020. How is it that 8 years after Boondh Shams was started in Jur Chakwal, Pakistan, by a Pakistani founder with a Pakistani team with a manufacturing site in Pakistan, we are yet to receive a single incoming email or need or sort of a reach out from the government
to
work
Hamza,
together.
We've got a representative from the Pakistan Navy right here in the studios listening to all what you were saying. We've got lots of people who are listening to what you were saying right now, and I think the message is going across to the right people at the right time when they need people and organizations such as you, which brings me to another very important perspective. Education and educating the right people in the far-flung areas where people don't understand the importance of innovation, such as the products that you are bringing in. How important is it also for yourself in collaboration with maybe Pakistan Navy and other forces and the governments, the local governments or the provincial governments, to also educate the people on the importance of innovative technologies?
It is vitally important. I will give you one example. Over the last 3-4 months, we've been working with the district administration in KPK Nowshera. One of my good friends from university and college, who was the AC and the DC there in Nowshera, worked with us to install 2 of these units where people have started to benefit. Now, this is the kind of technology that you need for it to be delivered, for the people to begin to appreciate all the good that it can bring to their lives on a sustainable basis. So there is absolutely a need for education. And if you think about the construct of this box, it's not elusive, it's quite simple. If you think about it, it's got wheels, it's solar powered, it filters the water.
I think there needs to be a collusion of different organizations together, such as yours, such as the representative of the Pakistan Navy and other forces and other provincial governments, to come together to make the people understand the importance of innovative technologies and how it can help them, their livelihoods, their families in the days, in the months, in the years to come, for a country such as Pakistan that is climate ridden, that is will be encountering drought, that is one of the most vulnerable countries as far as climate change. It is this collaboration that is the most important element that comes out as something that needs to be worked upon. Coming back to the studios, Lieutenant Commander Sufyan Saleem Saab, when it comes to coordination and innovation in the wake of such devastation, I'd like a short answer to that. How important is a collaborative efforts of the NGOs, of the forces, of the governments in order to bring not only some kind of stability in people's lives, but also make them future-proof?
Omar, it is already in place. The mechanism is there and it is being followed in true letter and spirit, because this huge devastation cannot be controlled by any one organization. It has to definitely we have to unite, we have to join hands to overcome these major issues which Pakistan is facing right now.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Commander Sufyan Saleem Saab from the Pakistan Navy, to have joined us. Thank you, Hamza Farrukh, founder Boondh Shams, to have joined us online. Ladies and gentlemen, in all of this devastation, there's one word that comes across, that is hope. Hope is something that we feel for, hope is something that we strive for, and hope is what we will go forward with in order to bring survival to the people who have been stranded, who have been affected by the floods. We are all one. Collectively, we will move together in order to bring some respite some good faith and some positivity in the lives of those who've been affected. Allah Hafiz.